talking about weight here. Nothing to do with weight. All right, so what I want you to play with first, Betsy, is let's play with his trot. So, and actually what's interesting about that trot, and I'm ignoring his connection right now, I'm letting you just deal with that. I'm just looking at his body and his legs. This has a tiny bit of cadence, and it's just as long striding. So if you can get this and get him just a tiny bit happier in the connection, I would like this trot better. But then again, from a judging standpoint, if you can't get him softer and more relaxed in the bridle in this trot, I would choose the faster one where he was happier. Does that make sense? But since we're working on schooling right now, work on making him a little more supple. Good. Super. So as you ask him to get round and more supple, remember the outside rein needs to be there to help the connection. It's what's going to actually tell him how high or low we want his neck. But it is a little bit the inside flexion, the squeezing of the inside rein that helps him understand we want him to drop down a little bit. Good. Yeah, super. So now you are riding him amazingly well in more of an upper level kind of frame. He's actually got his pole quite high, his neck quite high. I like his balance. It's a little hard for him because he has a big old neck under there. And so you can be a little bit playing with letting him get a little bit more relaxed on the underside of the neck. And I don't know if that makes sense. I like you and want you to ride his pole and neck up this high. You will then, of course, have to counteract it with stretching, too, because it's hard for him to carry this high all the time. But I think it's, And then so now you're stretching him on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Good, that's a better stretch. Because also there he's like, well, my head was so high, I'm really thrilled to put it down. So let's pick him back up again. And we're going to ride him just a little bit longer in this high neck position. But as you ride him in this neck high, the pole high here, you have to remember to let him sort of telescope the neck up and out and then give the underside of it. So you have to keep giving to him a little bit and seeing if when you get him up there, you can find a spot where he's in self-carriage and he's more supple. Yeah, super. Now, there you go. Good. And then you have a nice swinging trot. You can cover a little more ground and keep that cadence. Yeah. There, right in there. And right now, you may not get both at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. But what I can see is that you have been working on this because he goes, oh, yeah, there is kind of a gear I can pop into that is a more cadenced, swingy trot. Super. Yeah. And there his neck is a little bit lower. I'm also okay with this because the underside of it is softer. So he's going to be, you're going to have to work, sometimes his head almost too high for his comfort level. And then getting the given. Yeah, super. So when you do that again, try and give a little bit on the outside rein and see. So think about the outside rein still connecting, but being like made of rubber, so that he can bend more to the inside. So when he bends left, he makes the inside of his neck concave and the outside of his neck convex. You have to bend around that bending neck. So you have to, that's it, rubbery in that feeling on the outside. Connected, but really squishy. But it might be a little pulse. Yeah. Super. And let me see him go the other way. Yeah, super. There, very pretty. Then he gets the cadence and the swing. And his little tail's making a really nice little S curve. They want, the judges look for the tail to have that little flip at the bottom.
This is his better direction.
Okay. And this direction, you could almost squeeze, sort of, that's right, the outside rein just a little bit. Because I think just a little squeeze release on the outside, a little sponging of the outside. Yeah. And he's actually way easier for you to get round this direction.
Yeah.
He doesn't carry his pole as high this way.
No.
And remember, we're taking a horse that's downhill. We're trying to teach him to carry his head and neck up. We've got to make sure we get a corresponding up through the withers and the shoulder, not just his neck straight up. And you're doing that. But, just picking their head up, it can't, there, because there the head and neck are up and he's arching over and the underside is softer. Yeah. Yeah, super. And so, you have to make sure you play around with that. So you try to remind him to stay up, and then you push him forward. And I like the slower trot, because then you can afford to push him forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In the text, you rode him beautifully forward, but there was no place to go any bigger in the trot without him just going too fast. And so if you sometimes ride them, nice job to stretch them. If you sometimes ride them a little bit slower tempo, then you can push them forward, still get the big ground covering expressive trot, but it's from a little push forward. Okay, let's give him a walk break for just a second. And he can have a free rein. So nice, I really like that you did that for a while, then stretched him, and did it and stretched him. Because, when he picks up his neck like that, and then when he gets his shoulders up and free, he doesn't look downhill at all. And he gets a really nice reaching, swinging cadence trot. Okay, we're going to go a little longer than we are. We're probably about 40 minutes right now. We'll probably go a little bit over that if you can handle it. I'm impossible to keep on the schedule. It's really terrible. Now let's see what we can do with the canter. And if you're okay with it, I'm going to have you either work the BE 20-meter circle or the SR, because that way you're not underneath me. And you can go either way first. And just show me the canter. We're probably going to play again with maybe seeing if we can get his head up. We're going to see if we can do big canter, little canter, and see what we can find. And he may be too tired. Betsy, you'll have to let me know.
Well,
okay. Well, if he needs another walk break, just keep me posted. I think we can get a little bit done before he completely quits on us. So this is already a better canter. I think this is his better direction.
it is his better direction.
Yeah. So I want you to play with the canter on the circle. I want you to go more forward. And if he doesn't, more. Take his head up a little bit and more forward. More, better. Now actually that's a little bit better. Because one of the problems I have with this canter is it almost is not a pure canterism. And so a little more energy gives him more jump. It gives him the impression of a better canter. So I would ride the canter a little bigger. Now, to help school him, I'm going to, of course, now do the opposite. I'm going to have you slow him down as slow as you can canter, and let's see what we've got there. And keeping his head up like that. And a little bit, the outside ring got better. If he breaks, the first time you're like, okay, sorry, honey, we miscommunicated. The second time, give him a squat. Because, he's got to stay, I want you to take your thigh, you've got a nice soft leg, but I want you to grip and then release. A little bit half halt with your thigh.
In my thigh?
Yeah. Oops, he said, he thought that meant break, that's okay. That was a miscommunication, that was really understandable.
Yeah, that was me not doing that.
Yeah, so just a little tiny squeeze and release. And the legs shifting forward a little bit. A little bit, think about, there we go. The inside leg gives them a little kick up to the outside ring. The outside ring a little bit pulses. To get them more collected, you think about when their mane comes up. And of course his mane is roached, so that's hard. But as the forelock flips up, a little upward half halt. And then still keeping him a little bit round, a little upward half halt. And then sometimes you want to be following to give him a little break. There you go. There you go. Then you can push the hand forward as his forearm comes down and follow a little bit. So you can alternate, because we don't want to get him all tight in the back and tight in the neck. Now bigger canter again. And still a little bit of half halting him up. And then slower canter. And then every half halt is a little bring him back and toss him out in front of you. And bring him back and toss him out in front of you. Yeah, so. And then a little slower again. And he's like, I can't do the slower very well. There you go. Right about in there. I think his canter is pretty distinct. It's pretty true in the canter. Does that feel pretty good? Go ahead and trot him. Let's give him a breather. You can stretch him after you trot. After you get the down transition. Nice. That's a nice trot. Because I don't want to wear him out while we talk about it. But I want to talk about the canter a little bit, and then I want to go the other way. So there were several times in there where I like that trot a lot in the stretch. And remember in the stretch, we're trying to improve his gait. And the stretches you've been doing now have been improving his gait and showing them off as well as the stretch. The one in the test for me was consistent, but didn't show an improvement in the gait. And so again, as a judge, what I'm looking for is not only that they stretch, but that the gait becomes more swingy, more elastic, more springy. And he's doing that now, because his trot actually got super nice. So there were times when we slowed the canter down, it was harder for him actually to maintain the canter rhythm. And then we went bigger, and then there was a couple times where I thought it got better, and then the last one, it actually got almost worse when it went bigger. So tiredness again, I think we're working against that. But play with that, because I think the transitions within the gait will really help him build a better canter. And that canter, at least to the right, showed a lot more jump, a lot more what I don't want to see, and he has a tendency, and it's funny because my Canterbury quarter horse has the same, to trencher, trot canter. It's like, ooh, what is that? And it's not so much that you actually think it's a problem, but it doesn't make the canter beautiful and expressive. And I think he can. He's pretty impressive. So if he